Awaken the Sixth. Go alone.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Assassin's Creed plot holes.
Old Connor and his assassins. The American Revolution undid your Templar business.
May the Father of Understanding guide you.
May the Father of Understanding guide you.
It's only blood right now, but who knows? Vamos may ask for our hands next.
For this list, we're scouring the extensive lore of the Assassin's Creed franchise to find the many inconsistencies and contradictions. Which of these plot holes bugged you? Did we miss any? Sound off in the comments.
Before we continue, we'll be doing a deep dive on this list's #1 entry over on Mojo Plays, so be sure to check it out once you've finished watching.
Number 10. Mount Taygetos, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. As human issue hybrids descendant from the great Spartan king Leonidas, Cassandra and Alexios are more powerful than the average person. But that doesn't quite explain how they survived being thrown off the top of Mount Taygetos as children. Mount Taygetos is over 7,800 feet tall. This is over 6 times taller than the Empire State Building. It's completely impossible that Leonidas himself would survive this, let alone a small child and an infant. In fact, the very reason they were at the top of the mountain was so that Nikolaos would throw his supposedly cursed child from the peak and kill them. He does just that, and they miraculously survive. The official Assassin's Creed Twitter account simply blamed video game logic for the feat.
The wolf! Who wants Nikolaos of Sparta dead?
Nikolaos of Sparta?
Number 9. British accents.
I charge you to go to Notre Dame de Paris, and to find there the Templar agent, Charles Gabriel Siver.
While the original Assassin's Creed portrayed its Middle Eastern characters with American accents, later games changed this, so characters speak English, but with a very clear accent from their native country. Even Altair was reworked with the correct accent for his Revelations flashbacks. However, despite Ubisoft being a French company, and Unity being developed by French Canadians with a cast of many French Canadian voice actors, none of the characters had French accents. Instead, they were all British.
He was working with a man called Le Roi des Thunes.
The King of Beggars? Are you sure?
You know him?
Of him. The beggars pay him tribute. The man himself is a ghost.
The game's creative director, Alex Amancio, explained that the animus is translating, and the immersion would be broken if they were to have French accents. Nevertheless, players have said it's more immersive to play the game with entirely French audio, and the trend of having actors speak English with an accent has continued in all subsequent titles.
You might no longer think to ask questions.
Or he might accomplish a great deal more unburdened by ignorance.
Perhaps.
Number 8. Natural Assassins. These are games about a brotherhood of assassins who go through robust and brutal training to make them expert fighters and freerunners. So why is it that so many of our main characters have already mastered these skills prior to donning the white robe? Kenway, while not being an assassin for most of the game, would at least be able to fight and climb thanks to his time on the high seas. But Ezio and his brothers are already experts at parkour when the game starts, with very little training required for Ezio to make the leap from scrappy teenager to master assassin, aside from that one late-game jump upgrade.
And here he is, our campione Ezio.
Oh, hey, Ezio! I see you wasted no time starting the celebration.
Number 7. Eagle Vision. It's now an established cliché in most open-world games that your character will have an ability to highlight important objects, people, and maybe track animals if that's a mechanic. Assassin's Creed's version of this is Eagle Vision, the superpower that handily turns all your enemies red. But the explanation for what Eagle Vision actually is inconsistent.
In both title and ability, you should know better than to question me.
It's initially explained as just being a helping hand from the Animus, but eventually morphs into being an ability handed down through generations of assassins, which Desmond manages to access thanks to the bleeding effect. Is it an innate power of the human Isu hybrids? Is it just the Animus giving you an HUD? Can Bayek and Cassandra telepathically communicate with their birds? We may never know for sure.
Mercenary?
Number 6, Lucy, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
No!
Who could forget the insane cliffhanger Brotherhood left us on, where Desmond is manipulated into stabbing Kristen Bell? Lucy was originally Vidic's assistant, who reveals herself to be an assassin double agent in the second game. But then she's revealed to be a triple agent who was working for the Templars all along. Or was she?
Lucy, this is where your background comes into play. If our experiments with Desmond and the Animus aren't going well, you will remove him from Abstergo.
We're supposed to assume that she was a traitor based on what happened, but the explanation that she was a Templar comes not in a main game, but in a DLC for Revelations. On top of that, it was buried in a collectible you could have easily missed, even if you did play Lost Archive. Players deserved better than this, and it's not surprising many want to believe Lucy was loyal to the last.
I promise I'll answer all of your questions later, but right now I need you to just shut up and do what I say. So please, get in the Animus.
All right.
Number 5, Connor in Rogue, Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Uphold the principles of our order, and all that for which we stand.
In a lot of ways, Assassin's Creed Rogue was made to tie in more closely to Unity than the previous games it shared a setting with. We discover Shay Cormac is the man who killed Arno's father, Charles Dorian, after all. But it's Charles who puts a spanner in the continuity by saying that Connor has been undoing all of Shay's work for the Templars in the American colonies.
Oh, Connor and his assassins. The American Revolution undid your Templar business.
However, Charles Dorian dies in 1776, only part of the way through the events of Assassin's Creed 3. In fact, Connor was most likely locked up in Bridewell Prison at this point in time, and still had years left to help the American revolutionaries and get rid of Templar influence in the colonies.
Thank you, Mason, for everything. I will find a way to repay the favor when my work here is finished.
Number 4, the movies Apple of Eden, Assassin's Creed.
Gracias a esta manzana de Edén, el mundo conocido.
Video game movies are almost always terrible, and even the good ones, like Sonic the Hedgehog or 2018's Tomb Raider, are still far below the standards set for movies that aren't based on games. So it was no surprise when the Assassin's Creed movie turned out to be a complete flop, even if it was led by Michael Fassbender.
And how does that make you feel?
Like killing him.
It turns out that it's not just difficult to cram a dozen games worth of lore into 90 minutes, it's impossible, which leads to numerous contradictions with the established AC canon. The most egregious issue is that there's now only one Apple of Eden, as opposed to the hundreds of issue artifacts we know exist in the game world.
Dejaré atrás este viejo mundo. Siguiendo la luz del sol. Dejaré atrás este viejo mundo.
Number 3, Adam and Eve. In the beginning, it seemed like the modern-day storyline would actually go somewhere. While there was some semblance of continuity from the first game to the end of the Ezio trilogy, that was quietly abandoned, and with it, the interesting Adam and Eve origination myth. We were led to believe that Adam and Eve were the original assassins who rebelled against tyranny and presumably founded the Brotherhood. However, by the end of Origins, we know that's not true.
I have renounced Aya. I have killed Aya. I am now the Hidden One, known as Amunet.
Human issue hybrids are still important, kind of, and powerful, but Bayek and Aya were the true first assassins. Adam and Eve haven't been mentioned in the lore for years.
We must move forward. Remain in our tempest of blood poetry. Despite it all, we dance, and they die.
Number 2, the Father of Understanding.
The blood is for the cause, not the boy. Make your sacrifice.
Sorry.
What do the Templars believe in? Though their Odyssey precursors, the Cult of Cosmos, seem to believe in some kind of divine being, hints that there's a religious element to the Templar Order, aside from the real-life Knights Templars being staunch Catholics, existed before this.
May the Father of Understanding guide you.
May the Father of Understanding guide you.
Namely, through their invocation of the Father of Understanding, initially believed to be some kind of Templar deity. However, in Origins, we're given a clear answer. The Father of Understanding was in fact Julius Caesar. despite the fact that he was being manipulated by the Order of the Ancients, so they were worshipping their own stooge for thousands of years.
Caesar is the father of understanding.
You and Caesar will die.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Templars Plan, Assassin's Creed.
What if I told you that the human body not only housed an individual's memory, but the memories of his ancestors as well?
Most of the time, the Templar Order is simply evil for the sake of being evil, seeking ultimate power and control, in contrast to the Assassin's dedication to free will. And even at the beginning, their motivations were bare bones to say the least. Their entire plan in the first few games is to find the Apple of Eden through Altair's memories, and then put it on a satellite to mind control the entire world.
Destroy it! Destroy it, as you said you would.
I can't.
Yes, you can, Altair.
They do this to end all wars and awaken in humans what should have been ours from the moment of our creation, according to in-game files from Revelations. But this storyline is a casualty of the franchise's many villains. There are simply so many villains in so many different eras that the Templars' overall motivation is practically non-existent.
The remnants of the Assassin Order are scattered across the globe. The time has come to end this fight, and you will be on the front lines.
If you want to know why we chose our number 1 pick for this list, head over to Mojo Plays and watch our in-depth analysis of the entry. Check the link in the description below.